The station floated like a dying beast in the dark of space. Rusted, cracked, forgotten, its lights flickered weakly, like stars trying to hold on. This place wasn't listed on maps anymore. It was called the Market of Broken Things, where old machines, banned tech, and unwanted lives were traded. Eli walked carefully through the narrow paths. He was human, and humans didn't belong here. The air smelled of oil, smoke, and something worse. Something like sadness. His boots crunched over broken metal parts, and glowing alien eyes watched him from the shadows. No one smiled. No one spoke. Eli kept his head down. He was just here to find an old power core for his shuttle. Something cheap. Something that worked. That was all. Until he heard a voice. By my mom. It was soft. So soft he thought it was in his head. He turned. A little alien girl stood behind him. She couldn't be older than 6, though Eli wasn't sure. She had pale blue skin, glowing teal eyes, and long messy hair tied with a wire string. Her feet were bare. Her dress was torn. A shock collar blinked red around her thin neck. Please, she whispered again, stepping closer by my mom. She'll feed me, I promise. Eli froze. What did you say? The girl looked up, her eyes big and desperate. She's not bad, just sick. I'll be good. Just take her. She grabbed his hand and tugged. Her fingers were freezing. Before he could speak, she pulled him toward a side alley, away from the noise, the light, the tech sellers. He followed, heart pounding. This part of the station was darker, colder. A torn curtain hung in front of a cracked wall. The girl slipped through a gap and waved him in. Inside, it was quiet, and there in a small metal cage, curled up like an animal, lay her mother. She was tall but thin and shaking. Her skin, same pale blue, was bruised and scratched. Clothes were ripped leather, too tight now on her starving frame. Her long white hair was matted. A bigger collar, heavy and cracked, wrapped around her neck. Her eyes were closed. She's sleeping, the girl whispered. But if she gets food, she'll wake up. Eli stepped closer. The cage was old, rusted, the lock weak. Her breathing was shallow, almost gone. This is wrong, he said, looking around. Where's the cellar? Who put her in here? The girl bit her lip. The trader says she's broken, so no one wants her. But she's not. She's just tired. She's not a thing, Eli muttered. You'll take us. Her eyes lit up just a little. I can work. I'm small. I can clean. I'm not, he stopped. What was he doing? He knelt down in front of her. What's your name? The girl thought for a second. He called me 6, but my mom called me Luma. Eli looked at the cage again. He couldn't just leave. Not after this. He stood. Wait here. Stepped outside and walked to the nearest stall. A heavy-set alien with 3 eyes sat behind a pile of stolen tech and half-melted parts. The female in the cage, Eli said. How much? The alien looked up, annoyed. The fighter. Useless. Damaged. You want her? Yes, the alien shrugged. Give me that fusion cell on your belt and 5 ration packs. Take the little one too, a bonus. Eli hesitated. That cell was for his ship. His only way off this station. Fine, he said. Throwing the cell and the packs onto the table, the alien grinned and pressed a button. A beep came from the back room. She's yours now, human. Don't bring her back. Eli returned. Was already inside the cage, trying to shake her mother awake. She's still breathing, Luma said softly. I knew you'd come. Eli bent down and broke the cage lock with a metal rod. The door squeaked open. Gently he lifted the woman in his arms. She was light, too light, like a shadow. Luma walked beside him, holding her mother's hand the whole way. They reached his small living pod on the outer ring. It wasn't much, a single cot, a heater, and a small locker of food. Eli laid the mother down and wrapped a blanket around her. Luma curled up beside her, eyes closing. As Eli stepped back, something inside him shifted. He didn't know who these two were, why they mattered so much, but he knew one thing. He couldn't leave them behind, and from the shadows, something watched them. and sent out a signal. Eli had made mistakes before, but never one that breathed. Now one lay on his cot, wrapped in a blanket, barely alive. And the other, her daughter, sat beside her, eyes wide open, hands gripping the edge of the bed as if letting go would make her vanish again. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of the old heater and the raspy breath of the alien woman. Eli didn't even know her name. He leaned against the wall, hands on his knees, mind spinning. He had traded away the fusion cell, the only thing that could power his ship's jump drive. Without it, he was stuck on this dying station. But what haunted him most was the look in the girl's eyes. Not fear. Hope. Hours passed, he managed to warm some soup. It wasn't much, but it smelled better than anything in the lower markets. Luma sniffed the bowl and whispered, "Can I give it to her?" He nodded. Luma lifted the spoon to her mother's lips. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her mouth twitched, her throat moved. A weak swallow. "She's eating," Luma whispered, a shaky smile forming. Eli sat down. "Do you know her name?" Luma nodded. "She used to be strong. Before they took her, who took her? The people who said she was dangerous. She tried to fight them, so they made her quiet." Eli looked at the thick collar still around Vale's neck. Old military tech, illegal on every planet he'd been to. A blinking red light pulsed slowly from its side. That collar. "It's tracking her," he muttered. Luma nodded again. "She said they always want to know where she is, even if they don't want her." Eli stood up. That meant they were in danger. This wasn't just a mother and child running from poverty. This was someone important. Eli found his old toolkit. He knelt beside the bed and examined the collar. It was fused to the skin, scarred around the edges, like it had been put there in pain and kept there by force. He reached for a small scanner. The moment it beeped, Vale's eyes snapped open. Her arm moved fast, too fast for someone starving. She grabbed his wrist and slammed him to the floor, pinning him with one hand. "You touch it, we both die," she rasped. Eli didn't fight back. "I was trying to help." Her eyes scanned his face, then the room, then Luma. "Where?" "We." Her voice was cracked, dry. "My pod. Outer ring. I bought you both from the market." Eli paused, then added, "Cheap." Vale slowly let go. Her limbs shook. Her strength was fading again. "You're human," she whispered, as if confused. "Guilty," she blinked. "I thought your kind left the stations." "We did. Came looking for parts. Found you instead." Vale looked at Luma, who smiled and wrapped her mother's arm around her small shoulders. "She said you'd come," Vale said quietly. "She still believes in things." Eli poured her a cup of soup. "I believe in survival. You're not going to last long with that beacon on your neck." "It's not just a beacon," she said, eyes dark. "It's a detonator. Anyone tries to remove it, boom." She nodded. Luma flinched but didn't speak. Eli sat down on the metal floor, thinking. His hand touched the control panel under his cot, an old system he had rigged up with stolen code. It wasn't fancy, but it could jam short-range signals. He pressed a button. The light on Vale's collar blinked, and then stopped. No sound. No explosion. She looked up in surprise. "You jammed it," she whispered. "For now," Eli said. "But it won't last. Whoever's tracking you might already be on their way." Vale looked down. "They won't come to rescue me. They'll come to end me." Eli leaned forward. "Why?" she hesitated. "Because I know something they want buried." Before he could ask more, his pod lights flickered. Someone was tapping into the power grid close. A message popped up. On his old com screen, "Unauthorized life form detected in Pod 17B. Station admin en route." "They found us," he whispered. Vel stood, wobbling but steady. She reached for the rusted combat knife still strapped to her thigh, unnoticed until now, even half dead. She looked like someone you didn't want to fight. Eli grabbed his coat and tossed a thermal blanket to Luma. "You're not dying here," he said firmly. "You saved your daughter? Now, let me save you." The door buzzed. Outside, footsteps echoed. 3 sets. One heavy, too light to be human. Eli reached for the hidden side hatch, pressed the manual unlock, and looked back once. Vale nodded slowly. Luma whispered, I told her. Humans help. I was right. It slipped into the shadows just before the door burst open. The old service tunnel was freezing. Dust drifted in the dim light, and the air smelled like rust and mold. Pipes hissed above their heads, leaking steam, and their footsteps echoed too loudly. Eli moved first, crouched low, weapon in hand. A plasma cutter turned stun blade. Behind him, Vale limped quietly, her daughter Luma clinging to her side. They didn't speak. Not yet. Not until the door slammed shut behind them, and Eli locked it from the inside with a broken rod and shear. Hope only then did he breathe. You okay? He asked, turning to them. Vale didn't answer. Instead, she slowly stood straighter, too straight for someone who just escaped death. And in that flickering light, Eli saw something new in her eyes. Not fear, not pain, but control. Vale walked past him, every step firmer than the last. She stopped in front of a cracked panel and ripped off a cover plate with one hand. Eli stared. You know this station? I helped design its security grid 5 years ago, she said, voice flat. Back before my people turned me into... Cargo Luma tugged on Eli's coat. I told you. She used to be important. Eli couldn't believe it. You were military? Vale didn't look at him. She rewired two exposed cables and overrode the next door's sensor. Command engineer. 4th Spiral Fleet. Discharged for treason. Eli raised an eyebrow. You betrayed them? I refused to follow a kill order, so they branded me a traitor, took my daughter, and turned us into things to be sold. She turned to him. You, what are you? Just a scavenger? She stared at him for a moment. No, you're something else. You bought freedom with your last fusion cell. You risked your life for strangers. Eli shrugged. Luma asked nicely. The girl beamed. Vale's face softened. Only a little. They moved through abandoned quarters, rusted beds, broken lights, and old signs written in alien tongues. This section of the station had been shut down during the Power Wars. Now it would be their hiding place. At least for tonight, Eli found a sealed bunk room and pushed the door open. This one's dry. No cameras. Should be safe. Vale entered first, checked the corners, then allowed Luma in. She sat down slowly on the edge of a ruined cot, her body still weak, but her mind now clearly sharp. She looked at the collar. On her neck, it's still active, she said. And they're not done chasing me. Who are they? Eli asked. Vale didn't answer right away. Then slowly, she reached inside a pocket sewn into her torn pants. From it, she pulled out a small metal cube. It pulsed faint blue. What's that? Eli asked. Vale looked tired but serious. This is why they want me dead. She set the cube on the floor and tapped it once. A hologram flickered to life, glitchy, weak, but real. It showed a star map, systems, outposts, a glowing red sector marked with blinking lights, Vale explained. In a whisper, this is a weapons route. One my commanders denied existed. They sold forbidden arms, bioweapons to our enemies for credits and power. I found the proof. I tried to report it. That's when they took me. Eli stared. You were silenced, 'cause you tried. To stop a war? No, she said. Because I showed they were already building the next one. Eli nodded slowly. And now, if this gets out, their whole empire falls. Silence. Even Luma seemed to understand. Vale reached up to the collar. Help me take this off. Eli froze. You said it was a detonator. I don't care, she whispered. If I die free. Eli knelt beside her, heart racing. He pulled out his tool again. Luma held her mother's hand. Tight click, click. The collar beeped fast. Faster. Eli's hands shook. Wait, he said suddenly. He reached into his pack, pulled out a tiny jamming module, and shoved it inside. The collar's seam. A second passed. Then another. The light on the collar died. No explosion, no fire. Just silence. Vale let out a long breath, the first full breath in years. And then she smiled. "You're good with tech." She said, "I used to break into stations for fun," Eli replied. "You're wasted on scrap hunting." "I get that a lot." They both laughed just once. Then Vale stood and tossed the collar into the corner. Free. Finally. But freedom had a cost. Down the hallway, metal clanged. "Heavy boots, tracker," Eli whispered. "They sent someone already." Vale didn't flinch. She picked up the broken pipe from the floor and gripped it like a sword. She looked at Eli. "If I fall, get my daughter off this station." "I'm not letting anyone fall," Eli said, stepping beside her. Luma clutched her mother's leg, and from the dark corridor, a red light blinked. They were not alone. The red light blinked slowly, steady, pulsing like a heartbeat Eli saw. It first down the metal hall, past the cracked floor tiles and broken bulkheads. A silent sphere floated midair. No sound, no shadow, just that tiny blinking eye. "Tracker drone," he whispered. Vale's eyes narrowed. "It's not theirs." Eli blinked. "What do you mean?" She stepped forward slowly. "The ones who enslaved me, they used older signal. Tags. This is Terran tech." "You mean Earth?" he asked. Vale nodded. "But humans didn't use drones like this during the war, 'cause this one was built after the war," Eli said quietly. Suddenly the drone zipped forward. Eli grabbed Luma and pulled her back behind a crate. Vale slammed the pipe she held straight at the sphere, but it dodged. Humming fast and smooth. A flash. A soft spark shot out from underneath the drone, hitting the wall beside Vale. No explosion, just static. The walls lit up with symbols, lines of code, alien language, coordinates, a warning. Eli stared at it, breath frozen in his chest. "This isn't just a tracker," he said. "It's a message delivery system." Vale's face turned pale. "So then they know where we are, and they're not just after me anymore." The drone powered down midair and dropped to the floor with a clank. Eli walked over, kicked it aside, and opened its casing. Inside, a cracked Terran military seal from the Black Star Division. His blood turned cold. "That group was disbanded decades ago," he said. "No orders, no leadership. Ghost unit." "And now they're chasing ghosts," Vale replied. "Me." She touched the glowing map on the wall. The blinking signals showed their exact location. Eli ran his fingers through his hair. "We have maybe 10 minutes before boots hit this corridor." Vale looked at Luma. "She can't run that far." "We're not running," Eli said. "We're diving."
Oh.
He led them down 2 levels, past sealed blast doors and emergency ladders. Everything creaked. The deeper they went, the colder it got. Darker, too. "Where are we going?" Vale asked. "To an old cargo dock." "No one uses it anymore." "You sure?" "Nope," Eli said. "But it's where I stashed something special." They reached the last door. It was big, rusty, and half used by an old explosion. Eli knelt beside the control panel, typing fast. Sparks flew. "It's just junk down there," Vale said. "Exactly. It's what they think. But it's not just any junk." Click. The door slid open with a growl dot inside. Dim blue lights flickered over a forgotten ship. Small, ugly, covered in dust and netting, but shaped like a predator. Vale raised her eyebrows. "That's not scavenger gear. It's a prototype. Military grade, stolen from a scrapyard orbiting Mars. I fixed it over 5 years. Never flew it." "Why not?" "I was waiting for a reason," he said. "Now I've got to." They entered the ship. Vale set Luma down in the co-pilot seat and scanned the controls. Human layout, but modded. "I fused alien engines with a Terran stealth core," Eli said. "It'll fly barely." As Eli booted the systems, the ship groaned awake. Lights blinked, screens buzzed. One by one, systems came online, except one. Communications. "Why isn't it connecting?" Vale asked. Eli stared at the screen. "'Cause something's jamming us." From inside the station, he traced the signal. then stopped. His eyes widened. It's not coming from outside. It's coming from the collar. Vale stiffened. You disabled it. I only jammed the beacon. But there's a second chip. He ran to his toolkit and opened the collar he had tossed aside earlier. Inside, a thin fiber wire running under the main circuit. Still pulsing, it's a shadow. Transmitter, Eli said. Okay. Always active, even if everything else is shut down. So they never lost us, Vale said. They just waited until we ran. Without thinking, Eli threw the collar into the ship's airlock, sealed it, and hit the eject. The collar blasted into space, floating like a silent scream. Seconds. Later, the communication system clicked back online, but a new alert flashed. Unknown vessel approaching. Distance, 200 kilometers. Time to arrival, 7 minutes. Vale looked at him. Do we run? Eli shook his head. We lure them in. And then, we vanish. He typed fast. Opened an old cloak program. Redirected heat signatures. Shifted the ship's ID. Can your people track synthetic biosignals? He asked. Yes. Good. Because I'm about to fake yours and send it to Dock 12. They'll think I'm hiding there. Vale said slowly. And will be. Slipping out the garbage shaft, Eli smiled. She stared at him. You're not just a scavenger, he smirked. Told you I get that a lot. Just before launching, Vale sat beside Luma. The girl was already asleep, head resting on her lap. Vale whispered, You saved us again. Eli started the engines. Not yet, but I will. The ship lifted, and behind them, deep in the broken station, 2 enemy ships docked at Dock 12, right where the fake signal pulsed loud and clear. They had taken the bait. The stolen ship shook as it slipped through the narrow garbage shaft, walls scraping the hull like claws. Eli gritted his teeth and kept his hands steady on the controls. They had faked Vale's biosignal, sent it to Dock 12, and now 2 Hunter ships were tearing that sector apart. Almost through, he muttered. Behind him, Vale held Luma close. The girl was still asleep, unaware of how close death had come. Vale's eyes never left the window. Eli glanced back. You trust me yet? Vale didn't smile. No, but you haven't failed us. Not yet. Then the ship broke free into open space. Eli let out a long breath, but the warning light on the console blinked red. Pursuit detected. 1 vessel. Direct path. Eli slammed the dashboard. They didn't all fall for it. The enemy ship came into view, black, fast, and shaped like a blade. A Sever-class tracker. Old but dangerous. Not built for war. Built for elimination. Vale squinted. Only 1? Probably thinks that's all it needs. Eli dove the ship into a debris field. Broken satellites. Mining chunks. Floating. Crates of old tech. The enemy followed close, weaving through wreckage like it knew the path by heart. This thing's fast, Eli said. Faster than us. Vale stood behind him, and we outsmart it. You got a plan? She nodded. Put me in an escape pod. Eli spun around. What? Launch me in the other direction. They want me, not the girl, not you. Let them chase the bait. No, you don't have a choice. Yeah, I do, he said. I'm choosing to not throw. The only reason Luma's still smiling out into space. Luma stirred and sat up. Are we safe? Eli forced a smile. Almost. Vale knelt beside her. Listen, Luma. If I have to go, you promised you wouldn't leave again, Luma cried. Not ever. Vale froze. Eli saw it, the warrior. In her armor breaking? We're staying together, he said. I'll make sure of it. Then the ship jolted. They'd been tagged. The Sever-class launched a signal spike, magnetizing the ship's hull. Pulling them like a fish on a line. Eli flipped switches, rerouted power, reversed thrust. Nothing worked. Okay, he said, voice tight. New plan. He stood, opened a hidden panel under the cockpit floor, and pulled out a strange device, rough half-wired, glowing blue. Vale raised an eyebrow. What is that? Experimental? It creates a feedback surge. Fries anything using lock-on. Tech, it might also fry us. Vale stared at him. Do it, He looked at Luma. Go sit in the shielded locker, right now. She obeyed. Eli pressed the core against the side. Panel, the device screamed, then exploded in sparks. Every light on the ship went dark. Silence. The Sever class didn't expect it. It lost lock on its eye. Confused, stalled, just for a second. That was all Eli needed. He kicked the engines back on manually. He diverted cooling power into thrust and slingshot the ship around a dead freighter. Using its magnetic field like a slingshot, they burst out. Of the debris field at full speed, the Sever class spun, trying to follow, but too late. It clipped the freighter's tail and scraped its hull. Losing speed, nice trick, Vale said, gripping the seat. Learned it on accident once. Time I almost died. But they weren't out yet. The Sever class recovered. It fired a plasma bolt, hit the back of their ship hard. Sparks flew. Warning lights screamed. Rear shields gone, Eli shouted. Hull integrity dropping. A second blast came, but Vale was already moving. She grabbed the loose armor plate Eli kept under his seat, tied it around her chest, and opened the rear hatch. Eli spun around. What are you doing? She didn't answer. She ran into the cargo bay, grabbed the emergency release lever, pulled it down hard. The blast shield opened. Cold vacuum rushed in, but not enough to suck her out. She stood, in full view of the enemy ship exposed. A glowing shape. Arms raised, daring them to fire. The Sever class hesitated, their scanners confirmed. It was her, but she was alone, exposed, no child, no data. Ship tech. Just her. Eli watched from the screen. Don't do this, he whispered. Then the Sever class powered down its weapons. Vale turned, eyes glowing like fire. They won't shoot. Not without the cube. Not without Luma. They'll follow us. Then we finish this, she said. Eli fired up the ship's final core, a last resort burst engine meant for emergencies. Where are we going? Vale asked. Where no one dares follow. He pointed to the map. A dead system. No suns. Number: colonies. No reason to visit. But Eli had one. That's where I buried something, he said. Something they don't want me to remember. Vale stared at him. You too. Eli nodded. I've got secrets. Same as you. They jumped, and space behind them collapsed in static. The Sever class stayed behind. But its message was already sent. The galaxy now knew Vale was alive, and the human with her. Wasn't just a scavenger anymore. Asterisk, the ship drifted through black space, quiet, endless, cold. There were no stars here, no planets, only shadows. This part of the galaxy was called Dead Reach, a system so empty, even pirates stayed away. Some said it was cursed. Others claimed it was where machines went to die. Eli called it something else: safe. Inside the ship, lights flickered weakly. Fuel was almost gone. Hull damage was bad. But they were alive. And for now, no one was chasing. Then Eli sat in the pilot's chair, arms crossed, staring at the blinking red alerts on every screen. Vale stood near him, watching silently. Behind them, Luma slept again, wrapped in a warm blanket. Curled up on a folded coat, neither of them spoke for a long time. Then Eli said, "There's something here, and I need you to see it." They docked. The ship to a floating wreck, a massive cargo barge Eli had found years ago, its ID burned off, records deleted. He had repaired a few of its hidden systems and turned it into his own vault. No one knew it existed. Until now, he led Vale into the dark corridors. They passed broken crates, shattered windows, and ancient scorch marks. Faint emergency lights lit their path. Finally, they reached a sealed door, marked only by a scratched human word: truth. Eli unlocked it. The room inside was small, but what it held was not. Vale stepped inside and froze. Across the walls, hundreds of data panels blinked softly. Human, alien, hybrid, ship records, war footage, secret messages. And at the center, a single chair with a full neural uplink helmet. "You kept this hidden?" Vale asked. "I found it after the war," Eli said. I didn't understand it at all. First, but I knew it wasn't meant to be seen. He walked to a panel and touched it. A hologram lit up. It showed alien generals, high-ranking humans, corporate leaders, all in the same room. A human voice said, "So the war continues. As long as both sides bleed, we profit." Vale stepped back in shock. "You're telling me the war was controlled?" Eli nodded. "Manufactured. On both sides, weapons were sold. Soldiers were puppets. Victories were scripted. Losses planned. Millions died. They didn't care." Vale walked to another panel, one marked with her own name. She pressed it. A file opened, showing her fleet, her mission, her crew, and a voice recording. If Commander Vale refuses the culling order, activate her collar and remove her from command. Frame her as a traitor, erase her. Vale's hands curled into fists. Her eyes burned. "My own people betrayed me," she said, "to keep this secret buried." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "So did mine," he said. "That's why I left Earth. That's why I stayed in the shadows." Vale turned to him. "All this time, you've been hiding proof." He nodded. "It's waiting for someone to help me show it." Suddenly, a beeping alarm rang. Eli turned to the control panel. "Incoming signal," he said. "Encrypted. Deep code." Vale rushed over. "From where?" He checked the coordinates. "From inside dead reach." "That's not possible." "Is now." He opened the signal. A grainy face appeared. Alien, older. Eyes full of regret. It spoke in Vale's language. "Commander Vale, if you are hearing this, then I have failed. I tried to stop the purge, but they overruled me. They erased your name, your daughter's records, and declared you lost in action." Vale's breath caught. The voice continued. "You were right about the arms. You were right about everything. But truth alone won't save you. You must act before they silence you again. Deliver this to the free systems. Let them see." The message ended. A final set of coordinates blinked on screen. Eli stared. "That's halfway across the galaxy." Vale nodded slowly. "It's the free systems still remember me. If we get this data there, the whole galaxy will know the truth." Eli frowned. "And if we don't, they'll keep rewriting history, and we'll stay ghosts." He leaned on the console. "They'll kill us before we ever get there." Vale turned to him. "Then we'll die fighting." A crash shook the old cargo bay. Alarms screamed. Eli checked the sensors. No. He turned pale. A ship had found them, but not just any ship. A black dreadnought. Massive. Silent. Shaped like a blade of judgment. It had no flag. No cal sign. Only one thing marked its side. The severed eye. Vale whispered. "That's the one they send when secrets must die." Eli backed away. "Then they know everything." Inside the cargo vault, lights flickered. Luma woke up, rubbing her eyes. "Are they coming again?" she asked softly. Eli crouched beside her. "Yes, but this time they're afraid." Luma blinked. "Of us?" Eli nodded. "Of what we know." Vale stood tall, eyes blazing. "We leave in 5 minutes. Upload the files. Power the ship. Set course for the free systems." "And if they block us?" Eli asked. She picked up her blade. "Then we cut through." The black dreadnought loomed outside the wreck, silent and monstrous, like a shadow given shape. Inside the cargo vault, alarms screamed louder now. The stolen ship groaned under stress, its engines not made for one more jump, let alone a battle. Eli wiped sweat from his brow. His fingers flew across controls, rerouting power. Pushing the dying ship to wake up one last time, Vale stood at the airlock. Her eyes locked on the blinking dots on the scanner. "They've launched interceptors," she said. 5... ... Maybe 6. Small but fast. "They'll try to stop us before we jump," Eli said. "They want us dead, not missing." He looked back at her. "We still have a choice." The ship's nav screen blinked. 2 routes available. Route 1. Straight line to the free systems. Fast, direct, but right through the dreadnought's reach. Survival chance, less than 5%. Route 2. a long curved jump across an old gravitational loop. 3 slingshots, risky warp, and zero margin for error. Survival chance? Unknown. But it would avoid the dreadnought. Barely, Vale stared at both options, then at Luma, buckling herself into the co-pilot seat, her tiny hands shaking. Eli didn't say anything. He let her decide. And Vale spoke one word. Second. Eli punched in the coordinates. The ship's engines roared. Electric sparks. Fuel dropped critical. The stolen prototype shivered as if afraid, and then jumped. The dreadnought fired. Missiles screamed through space, chasing them. 1 struck the outer hull. Warning lights flared. The jump still held. Inside, the ship shook like it was falling apart.
Ow.
Luma screamed and gripped her seat. Vale held her close, shielding her body with her own. Eli grit his teeth. Almost. Come on, you beautiful piece of junk. The jump tunnel split. 2 paths. One decayed the other. Collapsing, the ship was being torn between them. Eli made the only move he could. He cut power for 1 second. Everything went dark. Then light exploded outside. They burst through the tunnel, flung out over a wide blue planet with glowing rings and twin moons. A free systems outpost blinked in orbit. The ship coasted, burning, rattling, nearly dead. But alive, Vale gasped. You did it. No, Eli said. We did. Communications crackled. A voice spoke. Unknown vessel. Identify yourself. Vanify yourself. This is Commander Vale of the 4th Spiral Fleet. Presumed dead. I am alive. And I bring truth. A pause. Then transmission received. Docking clearance granted. Welcome home. Hours later. Inside the Free Systems Command Hall, Vale stood before a circle of leaders, human, alien, hybrid, all watching in silence. Eli stood beside her, dirty, exhausted, but calm, and Luma, clean now, dressed in soft clothes, sat on a chair with warm food in her lap. Vale placed the memory cube on the center podium. This is the proof of corruption, she said, of war made for profit, of lies that killed billions. Why now? One counselor asked. Because this man, she said, pointing to Eli, chose to believe my daughter when no one else would. He didn't ask for payment. He didn't ask for power. He just helped. They turned to Eli. He shrugged. I just fixed a broken engine. The cube activated. Holograms flickered, leaders caught on tape, secret meetings, orders to erase lives. Gasps filled the chamber, and then ... silence. Do you understand what this means? Terran Admiral said. This could collapse empires. Oh, nodded. Let them fall. Weeks later, news spread faster than light. Whole systems rebelled. Puppet rulers vanished. Soldiers laid down their weapons, realizing they were used, and one name kept returning in the whispers. Vale, the returned, but not alone. With her, the human who shielded her in a quiet garden outside the Free Systems capital. Eli stood looking at the stars. Clean shirt, new boots, same look in his eyes. Vale joined him. They offered me a fleet, she said. Are you taking it? I asked for something else. Eli raised an eyebrow. She smiled. A ship. One that can go anywhere. No orders. Number. War. Just help people who need it. He nodded. You'll need a good pilot. I already have one. Luma ran to them with a datapad. Mama, they showed your face on the news. They called you the Mother of Light. Vale laughed. Do you like that name? Luma shook her head. No, you're just Mama. She turned to Eli. And you're still the guy who fixed our soup heater wrong. He smiled. It still worked. And far across the stars, deep in a silent council, room filled with cold faces and colder plans, someone whispered, the secret got out. Another replied, yes, but worse than that, a human helped it fly.